Hi everybody, this is Kim with Kim's Vinyl Expressions. Today we're going to stitch out an In the Hoop Snap Wallet by Loopy Lion Designs. This is what it looks like. It's very cute. I like it, very convenient. It snaps closed here. I used elastic on this, but you can use either a piece of vinyl or elastic, whichever you prefer, and cam snaps. When you open it up, you have a slot for ID. This isn't an ID, but it just fits. Oop, wrong pocket. It just fits right in there very easily. You have on the other side, you have two pockets for cards, and you also have a pocket on each side if you want to put money in it, a note, or whatever you want to put in there. It's really cute. I like how it just folds over really easy and just snaps shut. Love it. So with that being said, what you're going to need for this is done in two hoopings, a 4x4 for the first part, and then whatever size that's available for the second part. I'm going to do it with a 5x7 hoop. So the first step is to make the ID slot. So you'll need two pieces. You have one clear plastic, a 3x4, and then a piece of vinyl 3x4, whatever you want to use for that ID pocket. And that's what you'll need for that. And that I said 4x4 hoop. And I'm going to do the 5x7 version. So what we will need for the 5x7 is two pieces of 2 3/4 by 4 inch for the card pockets. Obviously you'll need a piece of elastic or a piece of vinyl, whatever you choose to use. You'll need two pieces of 3.5 by 5.5 for the money pockets, and that's going to be these behind here, these two. So you'll need two of those, and you'll also need two pieces for the last step, which is the back, which is a 5.5 by 7 inch. But check the PDF instructions that are included with the design, because the sizes will be different depending on what size you want to do. And let's see if there's anything else I forgot. No, got everything. So we're gonna head on over to the machine and we're gonna do the first step, which is the ID slot. So this is the first step, which is the 4x4 hoop for the ID slot. The first, it's only 3 steps. The first step is going to be the placement stitch. The second step is the tack down, and the third is just another border around the ID slot, and I'll just show you that when it's done. So that's the outline for the placement stitch. And what you're going to do, you're going to take both your pieces, put them on top of each other, and then tack them down. Okay, so we got the ID slot stitched out. So I'm just going to take my paper, my tape off here. Take this off here. So that's all you'll need your 4x4 hoop for. And then I take the stabilizer out first. I mean, it doesn't matter what order you do it in. And then I just cut these little tails. And you don't want to trim this part yet. You want to trim it after you tack it down to the actual wallet. But what you do want to do is we're going to cut a piece of thread there, and we're going to cut out along here. So you can do yours however you want to. People usually say something to me about how I do mine, but from my eyesight and other reasons, I do it this way. I just take my X-Acto knife and I go really, really lightly just to make a little opening, and you can feel it going through the back of the vinyl. So you just want to do it a little bit at a time so you don't cut this back here. And no, I did not cut it. So once I get that little hole done there, or you can use your seam ripper and do it, but I can't seem to usually get the hole to go that way. So I just lift that up a little bit, and I just take this and I go make sure I didn't poke a hole through the back. And then I just go really slowly and like that. And it's so much easier, I think, to cut the pocket that way. And then I'll just do all 4 sides. And you just go slow, or, you know, just whatever, and make sure you don't go through the stitches there. And that's it. Very, very simple. Very good tool to use. It's not just for seams. I'll just take that little extra piece off that. I try to get all the little tails off and whatever I think will show later on. But I'm just really OCD about all that. So that's going to be the ID pocket. And let me stress to you, because I made this mistake. See, the third step that we did was just do a line down here. When you go to attach, attach this to the actual wallet, make sure that this part is on the bottom of the pocket. Because what I did is, when I wasn't even paying attention when I did the first one, but I did it this way. Here, I put this with the stitch up here, and I'm sorry, the wrong way. I did this stitch this way, and the stitch to tack this down goes this way. So I had no opening at all. It just, I made a big mistake. But you just want to make sure that this part with the second line is facing this way inside the wallet. All right, so now that we got that done, you're not going to trim around here. You won't even touch that till later, and you might not even have to, depending on how you cut yours. But now that we got that done, we are going to start on the 5x7 hoop and making the actual wallet. Step 1 and 2 is for your your closure, whether you're going to use vinyl or elastic. The first step is going to be the placement stitch 4 for that, and then the tack down. So that's step 1 and 2. Step 3 and 4 are going to be, step 3 is the placement stitch for the money pocket, and step 4 is the tack down stitch. Step 6 and 7 is going to be for the ID pocket. Step 6 will do the placement stitch, and step 7 will tack it down. All right, so now that we got the ID pocket tacked down, oops, we're gonna go ahead and trim it. And I'll use these scissors. And mine doesn't really need to be trimmed that much. I'll trim a little bit from it. This one just needs the plastic, so I don't even have to do the whole thing. That was just a piece of from the ID. And I'll do the top a little bit. And you just trim it to however you want to. There's no set spot. Just my stuff, I like being close to the stitches and not having a lot of extra. And I can't cut straight sometimes, so I don't know if this will look lopsided. No, that was pretty good. I'll do a little around the sides. Making sure I have the plastic. I think I am going to get this. Sometimes I use tweezers because I can't, my nails is long and I can't see. And then now I can hold it up. And I think I missed the plastic. Can't barely see it with this vinyl. All right. Make sure I got that this time. Okay. So hard to see. Okay. Well, I keep thinking I'm grabbing it and I'm not. I just got to get a little piece started. There we go. Now, this one is stronger than that one, so I know this will hold it. Oh, God, I can't even. That's what I get for using pattern vinyl. I can't see. I'll get back to that later. And you can't even see that piece of plastic that I left. It's just that I know it's there. All right, so now we got this all trimmed. I'll get back to that later, but that's what it looks like. So now the next step that we're going to do is down here. We're gonna do a placement stitch for the pockets, for the credit card pockets. So it'll do a line here and it'll have two, and you'll do the upper one first and then the bottom one. All right, so I'll trim around here when I'm done. I don't feel like doing it right now. But the last step, what we're going to do, you're going to turn this around, and you want to make sure you know where your placement is for the piece of elastic or the vinyl, whatever you used, because you're going to have to put a cam snap in. So what I'm gonna do is do this a little different than I did. I did it an inch off on this blue one yesterday, and when I was stitching it, you can see here I had some issues because of the little bulkiness here. So what I'm going to do is, since I am using elastic, I'm gonna put it a little further. The first time I did it was a 1/2 inch, and I'm gonna do it about 1 inch this time. So what we're gonna do, you're gonna mark. I'm gonna just try and keep this centered. So it's around here. I'm gonna go up to probably here. That's me. You can put it where you want to. But I think if it's up a little higher, it'll be easier for me to stitch it this time. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a cam snap in there, and I'll be right back. All right, so I put my cam snap on. I think I did it a little over. It's not centered. It's a slight hair over, and I'm okay with that because it'll be for me. So what we're going to do is you're going to take your two pieces that you have left for the back, and you're going to put the wrong sides together like that. So you want that and that, and we're going to tack this down all together. Now, the one thing I can tell you is yesterday when I made this blue one, like I said, I had a problem sewing around here. So I just did it a little higher today. So hopefully my machine won't give me any issues. I have a Brother Brother NQ 1600. And I have the option of lifting my presser foot higher, and for this I put mine up about 3 steps, 2 or 3 steps, I don't remember. So it's normally on 2.0, and I had to put it on either 3 or 3.5 because all of this was kind of thick and my machine was making some weird noise. So there are quite a bit of layers here, so I can understand that. If you hear any noise, I'm sorry, it's about to storm here. All right, so I'm gonna tape this down. I usually use painter's tape, but they had a really good deal. They had a clearance on Scotch washi tape in Walmart for like 50 cents a roll. So I bought a whole bunch. I think it works a lot better than well, this one was already used. That's why it's not sticking. A lot better than the painter's tape. For some reason, when I put the painter's tape on the bottom of my hoop, it always comes off. But so far, I really, really like this. And in case you're wondering what it is, I have a whole bunch of them. Scotch makes it, and because the clearance sticker was on it, I can't, let me see if it says on the back here. It doesn't say washi tape, but on their sticker it does, and they work really well I only use it to do this stuff now. So if you're using painter's tape or looking for an alternative, I think this is a pretty good alternative. All right, so now I got that in, or I also use these. These are flat head pins that work really well for under the hoop if we need to do that. And I'm actually probably thinking about doing that just to play safe. No, I'm not going to. I trust my machine today. Working very well. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, and now that we got the both sides together, and I believe I'm a little off here. All of that, they're not even. I have very bad OCD, so I need to make sure my stuff is even. And I know I keep doing this and I keep doing this. Oops, shoot. But I try to cut everything as close to the regular size as I can. But sometimes I'm a little off on my cuts and I don't know why. I think it's my eyesight. I don't think my glasses. I think I need a new prescription. But I'm just gonna put that right there. I can see when I do certain things like this, I use this stabilizer. It's what is it, Pelon 360. It's just regular tearaway, but it's a thin that I can see better through. So I use that on certain things. It's pretty good and it tears away very, very easy. So we're just gonna line that up like that. Put that there. I use bigger piece this time because of the curling that it was doing before. Put this one here. It's curling because it's been rolled up for a while. I haven't used this color in a while. Sometimes this is why I prefer sheets, so it doesn't do that. But this should be okay. All right, so we got the two wrong sides together. I got it taped down. I'm going to take it over to the machine and run the final stitch. All right, so we are done. I had, well, not done. I still have to do the cam snap there. Had some problems with my machine and I switched to a bigger needle and it finally worked. It kept shredding over here. And I figured with all the layers, I said, let me put a bigger needle in. And once I did that, smooth sailing. So, got the back on. There's the cam snap. I could take the tape off. I'm not going to take it out of the hoop yet because I like to do my trimming while it's still snug in the hoop. So, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just trim around these. Oop. All right. And like I said earlier, you just trim it to wherever you want to. I'm sure most of you know all that. But we do have some new people, new to embroidery. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to comment on the video, or you can send me a message in the Loopy Lion group or just in Facebook Messenger, whichever you prefer. I'm not the best cutter, and I know I've mentioned this before. Sometimes I can't even cut straight. But when it comes to stuff for me, I'm not so anal about it. But, all right, so now let's take it out of the hoop. And I'm just gonna start taking out the stabilizer and all these threads. So now what I'm gonna do is I wanna take the stabilizer out of here. So I'm gonna take my seam ripper, since I have these little holes in the stabilizer, makes it a little easier for me so I don't cut the threads. And I'll just start like right there, and I'll just go right across. And then that, once you cut the stabilizer, that opens your pockets. Get all these threads out of there. And so lesson learned for me, when I use a lot of layers of vinyl, I'm gonna change to a bigger needle, because I think that's my problem. I stay on the 14, and even though I lift my presser foot because of the thickness, I still have to put a bigger needle in too, because once I did that, everything was smooth sailing for the last step. And I know every machine is different, so I don't want to tell you guys to do that. I don't know your machines, but I know what happens with mine. When I do a lot of layers, I'll have the same problem all the time. And I've been embroidering now maybe almost 4 years, and I just learned that today. So I learn new stuff every day. It's a learning process, and I'm sure as long as I embroider, I'll learn something new all the time. And I'm just cutting, these are the placement stitch threads that are hanging around, and you can cut those. You don't have to worry about that. So see, now you have your open pockets. You can take the stabilizer out of there if you want to. I just leave it in. And then cam snap. So what I'm gonna do on mine is, I don't have a handheld one. I only have the bench, the workbench one, but I'm just gonna show you before I do it. So this closes there. I'll put my cam snap somewhere around here, and like I said earlier, this was not centered, so now my thing is going to be a little lopsided, but I don't care, it's just mine. So you can also now trim around here. So I'll just trim where I want it trimmed. Do this side. do the bottom. When you cut around the top, make sure you do not cut your closure. Okay, and then here. So what I do is I'll just go to the closure, or right before it, like right there, and then I'll just pull that down and then just go across this one. See, and I didn't cut that, and then I'll fold this way and then do the same thing with this. And this I just gotta, let me cut that little piece off. And this I just try to hold it tight, as tight down as I can, but I'm using elastic, so it's a lot easier. And then just get past that enclosure. Now you're good to go. And then you can finish the rest. Okay, and that's good enough for me. Just fix that one little piece right there. And hey, oh, and then see, you just put your cards in there. You have the 2 pockets here, like that. And it closes perfect. And I will be right back. Okay, so it didn't work out quite as planned. It moved a little bit, but you get the gist of it. Oh, maybe I did fix it. And then you just fold it. And I like the elastic because it'll stretch some. So if I had to put a little something else in here, well, oh, something else in here, I have the room, I can expand. Hey, that's not a bad idea. But that's it. That is your wallet. And there you go.